A report by the now suspended superintendent of the Dimapur Central Jail on the lynching of a rape accused in Nagaland 10 days ago has thrown up many new questions on the attack by a mob on the jail and also on whether police action was adequate despite having time to bring in reinforcements. The report questions the Nagaland government's claim that the mob action was sudden and hence adequate reinforcements could not be sent to the jail in time. The report reveals that the first information about a possible mob attack was received by the prison authorities at least about 5 hours before that incident took place. My colleague Alok Pandey joins me now live for more on that story. Alok, it's a fairly damning report. We, of course, have reported in the past about questions being raised about whether the state was in fact complicit in that absolutely horrific incident. Now this report card from senior officials within the cops just brings some perspective into all the information that's there in that report.
Well, yes, absolutely, Kashish. First of all, this is a copy of the report that's available with NDTV right now, or for anyone who wants to read this entire interview, ndtv.com will be putting this up shortly on their website. But I think the bigger issue here is this, Kashish. If you remember, right after this incident actually happened, there was this version by the Nagaland police and the Nagaland government that they did not have adequate time, as you were pointing out, to actually bring in any reinforcements, and that they really were inadequate forces available with them, and that the mob was so strong, that the mob strength was so much that they really could not do anything to prevent it. But this is a report filed just the next day on the 6th of March by the now suspended superintendent of jail of that Dimapur prison where this incident happened, and he clearly says in his report, it is written down, that there were a full 5 hours available with the administration and the cops, and yet there wasn't adequate action. Now, according to this report, at 11:30 a.m., the jail administration received the first information about the fact that such a mob could actually collect outside the Dimapur Central Jail and attempt to break in. Now, this superintendent, of course, says that he immediately intimated the district administration, and by 12, some police officers and some India Reserve battalions actually arrived on the spot to bring in reinforcements. But it clearly wasn't enough, because by 1:30, a mob had actually collected outside the Dimapur Central Prison. That mob strength could have been anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000. That's still debatable, but it was a huge mob. Now, this is the damning portion of that report. He says that the jail superintendent says that for a full 3 hours, from 1:30 to 4:30, this mob broke into the jail, vandalized the prison, actually kept on looking for this accused. Once they found him at 4:30, they dragged him out, beat him up, and took him outside the jail. He says that in the later part of the evening, since no reinforcements came, agitators had ample opportunity to search the entire jail premises. He says that the search and frisking by mobs inside the jail premises lasted for about 2 to 3 hours. Now, this really falls the Nagaland government's claim of the fact that they did not have enough time to rush in reinforcements really falls flat on the face of this report, where this jail superintendent is clearly saying that there were a full 3 hours for the administration to try and send in a little more reinforcements, but that was not done. The other part of this report, of course, is on the question of whether the police could have actually fired on the mob. That's something that the cops say was not possible. This jail superintendent also points to the fact that there were girls in that mob, and that's why perhaps the police captain who was outside the jail, who was leading the reinforcements at that time, chose not to fire. But perhaps the question will rise now as to whether they could have fired in the air, some other measures could have been taken. This report clearly states that some Jawans started loading their rifles at a point of time to try and prevent this attack, but the police captain on duty at that time ordered all his men to lower their arms. One more fascinating aspect about this entire report, if I can say it that way, Kashish, is the fact that 2 cadres of the insurgent outfit, NSC and IM, which is now in a ceasefire agreement with the Indian government, but everyone knows that they call the shots in Dimapur and most of Nagaland. 2 cadres of that outfit also escaped. And the report says that when this mob broke into the prison, they were openly asking prisoners to escape. All in all, a very serious indictment of the claims of the Nagaland government and the Nagaland police over the last 10 days.